The two-day Business Standard BFSI Summit is about to kick off on October 30th. And if you're interested in banking, finance, and insurance sector, then that is the place to be. To discuss what the summit holds for you and what will be the key highlights, we have with us Mr. Ashok Kumar Bhattacharya, Editorial Director of Business Standard, and our consulting editor, Mr. Tamal Bandyopadhyay. Welcome, Tamal. Welcome, AKB, for this discussion. I'd like to start with Tamal. This is the 4th edition of Business Standards BFSI Summit. What were some of the standout moments from the last year's summit? And of course, AKB, I'd like your view also on the same later. Tamal.
Thanks, Ruchika. I would like to believe it's the fireside chat with which we started with RBI governor. In fact, that was the time when the World Cup just got over. And everybody was talking about Messi's goal. And actually, Reserve Bank of India governor, it's a great communicator. So whatever question you ask him, he was the Messi. In fact, I did say, and one of the news agencies actually quoted that governor is the Messi. So it was I would say, in terms of presence and in terms of presence of the audience and the intellectual discussion, it was fabulous. But it takes the cake was the governor's with which we started the fireside chat with governor.
Of course. What about you, AKB? What do you think was the most memorable part?
I think Tamal is absolutely bang on. I think the RBI governor is the centerpiece of this entire BFSI summit. But I would say that I will add to it and say that there are moments of discovery in this entire summit where you don't get a hard news point, but you get to know what drives what in this hard financial sector of the country. So you get your own understanding enhanced, and your takeaways are even more rich if you want to understand what is really happening to the Indian financial sector. And that has been my major discovery in the last few years BFSI summit.
Tamal, what will be the key focus areas of discussion in this year's summit?
Well, it's a very interesting time, interesting quote unquote, because Indian banking system, it's a golden era. Mr. Kamath says, who happens to be the inaugurator for this summit this year. He said, this is the best banking time in the last 50 years. So that's the banking system. You have NBFCs when Reserve Bank of India's rule-based regulations, talking about in high-level NBFCs, upper-level NBFCs to be treated like banks. So there's a dilemma ahead of them. You have mutual fund segment, the markets where, apart from the volatility in the market, you see the AUM of mutual fund is growing every month, and so is unique investors. You have small finance banks, many of them have got into market, and few of them who are still yet to, they will be also entering the market in the next couple of months. And India is poised to become, as we speak, to overtake Japan by 2030 as the 3rd largest economy. So from every point of view, and everything is happening in the insurance segment. So this is a fabulous time to pick the brain of the best in business and finance and banking. And this is a platform for it.
All very important points. One of the interesting chats we are having, AKB, is with Christopher Wood, who's the global head of equity strategies at Jefferies. What are the key insights that you're expecting from this interaction?
You're absolutely right, Ruchika. Christopher is, if I may use that expression, is an eternal optimist, particularly about Indian markets. And this BFSI summit is taking place at a time when markets are in turmoil. It is not just a question of the global headwinds, but it is also a question of what kind of business opportunities or earnings prospects lie ahead of Indian investors. And I would really look forward to listening to Christopher Wood's views on the Indian markets and how the Indian markets can withstand the pressures of the phenomenon called the world is on fire or the world is in flux. So what kind of takeaways the Indian investors should believe in? That question will probably be answered in Christopher Wood's session.
And as AKB pointed out earlier that the RBI governor was the centerpiece of this event, this year again, we have the privilege of having RBI Governor Shaktikanta Das with us. Can you set the context for us, Tamal, in which Shaktikanta Das will be having a chat with us in this summit?
Well, incidentally, this is his fourth appearance for RBI governor. But the context is, it's different, because while India is a sort of oasis, India is the engine of growth for in the global context. But you see the global headwinds are very different now. The geopolitics, the interest rate, what's happening in US, the spread, the shrinkage of spread between US paper and US government paper and Indian paper, the inflation, while we have been able to, I would not say tackle or bottle the inflation jelly, but somehow we are ahead of the fight against inflation. Probably we are also ahead in terms of ending the higher interest cycle. There's no more hike probably, while the things are very uncertain overseas. And it's a global world. I mean, you can't say that we are decoupled. We need to see that. So in this context, what governor says on these issues, apart from what's happening in the cryptocurrency and CBDC and technology, but these macro issues are very, very important. I think everybody will be eagerly watching and waiting to hear him.
We all would be listening very keenly to the RBI governor. Finally, AKB, we have a range of subjects that we are discussing in this summit. What are some of the topics that you are most looking forward to?
Well, I'm looking forward to the session on digital payments. Remember, one of the many bright spots of the Indian economy is about the digital payment infrastructure and what kind of opportunities and what kind of services that are now possible for consumers of the finance. Now, the digital payment infrastructure is going to be X-rayed, so to say, at this session. There is also a very interesting session on what kind of challenges the financial technology sector faces through the use of clouds and the data center growth. And last but not the least is a session with the SEBI's, the market regulator, Securities and Exchange Board of India's whole-time member, Mr. Anant Narayan, who is going to shed more light on what the market regulator is going to do about the market dynamics, the market developments, and the market prospects.
All very important points there, AKB. I'm sure it's going to be a very rich discussion. As you said it so nicely that we, of course, as news people look for headlines, but there are moments of discovery that happen. And I'm sure it will be a very enriching experience for all of us. And as Tamal has also explained that the summit is happening in the backdrop of a very rich domestic and global context. Thank you so much, Tamal and AKB, for all your insights into the summit, for this curtain raiser that you have given us. Thank you so much.
Thank
you.
If you like this video, share it and subscribe to Business Standard. For more news, views and insights, log on to www.business-standard.com. Do also follow us on YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, Telegram and LinkedIn.
He's about to land his dream job. Business Standard.